Welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Last week I said there's always fencing to be done, and we proved ourselves right this week. After running the hot wire to keep the cows in last week, they found another way to get out. They were pushing against an old gate that we had across a large gap. We sort of had double gates. One gate we were using and the other gate was just being used as part of the fence. And they were pushing on that and broke it. So instead of fixing it straight away, what we did was just let them roam around near the house. We were able to just close a couple of gates and they were able to walk up and down the driveway. They could go sort of around in front of my place and eat the grass there, and they were contained and right by the house. Then when we had the opportunity, the next day, we fixed the gap and put them back in their paddock. So we flipped the gate over. It was facing the wrong way so that the cows were pushing on it and the wire was breaking out. So we put it so the frame was on the inside. So when they pushed against the wire, it was actually pushing on the frame first. We sort of hitched it all up and closed up the gaps, put a post in to make it even more secure, and so far they haven't gotten out through that again, but who knows, now they might try somewhere else. Then we had to do another last minute fencing job. Of course, as soon as we took down our temporary fence around the shed, the farmer whose cows are grazing in the paddock decided that he wanted to move them back into the dam paddock, which is where that temporary fence was. So it meant that our new veggie patch were going to be exposed to the cows, and all of our new little shoots and everything were probably going to get eaten. So we ran a couple of electric hot wires at either end of the shed just to block off that little section where the planter boxes were. And we let them just roam around the rest of the shed area and up into the stock run, even down the old driveway. And they have been very effective already in getting the grass down quite a lot, which is good because the tanks are being delivered next week. So they've already eaten down all of the grass in the area where the tanks are going to be placed. So we've got a much better look at the lay of the land, and the plumber will be able to get in there much more easily now to place the tanks properly. I finished plying the singles that I showed you last week. There was still some of the rhubarb colour left, but I did use all of the multicoloured Corriedale top in the final yarn. I really pushed getting all of this onto one bobbin. It is sort of higher in the middle and right to the very, very edges. So I am looking at getting a jumbo flyer and a bigger bobbin so that I can apply much more onto one bobbin than this. I think that shows that I'm progressing with my spinning, and I'm getting more from each braid and sort of trying different things in terms of the plying as well. So I'm really happy with how it's come out. It is still a little bit thick and thin, but overall it's reasonably good. And I won't know for sure until I've actually taken it all off the bobbin and I've washed it and everything, but I just loved how the colours have turned out. I'm really pleased that I did stick with the solid to go with this multicoloured, and I'm thinking that it probably will make a really nice shawl or a cowl. So next steps are to wind it off and see how much yardage I got, and also wash it. And then, as I said last week, I do want to start knitting with my hand spun, so maybe this will be the first one. I took a break from sock knitting this week because I got a little bit inspired to knit a few baby items for some friends that are having babies very soon. So I started with an aviatrix beanie. It's a really cute pattern It is knit on straight needles with short rows, and you kind of do each of these wedges and it creates the shape of the hat. And I've knit one of these before and I found that it sits on a baby's head really well because it's of the real dome shape. Keeps their ears warm in winter. And it also is very, very stretchy. So even though this is the 3-month-old size, but it should be able to be worn for a lot longer than a traditional beanie. I did one for Sebastian, my nephew, when he was quite little, and he wore it for a really long time. Then I thought I would move on to booties, and I've had trouble with them in the past. I found them quite fiddly. They were, double pointed needles, small gauge, and somehow I ended up making them all the size of a little doll rather than for an actual baby's foot. But I had this pattern recommended to me, and it's turned out really well. They're just called newborn booties. I'll put the link in the description below. And you can see it's got a really big, it's got a nice little cuff. It's nice and stretchy. It's garter on the bottom, and then it's got like a little flat panel done with short rows on the top. So it kind of looks a little bit like a real boot, like an Ugg boot. And then you can roll down the top. So this was super quick and really easy. When I first did it, I was a bit unsure about the pattern. I couldn't imagine how it was going to actually knit up to be like this, but it's really easy to knit and I think really effective. So I've done a pink one. Obviously I need to do the second one, and it will be a set with the beanie. This is in my Harvest DK yarn in the Winter Roses colour. I had a skein of this just sitting in my stash already balled up. I must have used it for something and just used a little bit, so I've got plenty to be able to make some really cute little baby items. And I'm thinking maybe I should dye a little bit more of this up because it is really quite pretty. Then my sister saw the bootie and she thought they were super cute, and someone at her work is due to give birth next week. So she asked if I could do some booties for them as well. So I put the pink ones down because obviously there's a deadline much closer for these ones, and they are Richmond supporters. So I've done the base in black and I've done the cuff in yellow, and it is really, really cute. So I have the second one of these is on the needles already and shouldn't take too much longer to do, and then I'll get back and finish the pink ones. And depending on how I go, I might end up doing a couple more pairs. They are just really, I'm just really pleased with how these have come out, and I've forgotten how quick it is to do baby knits. They just fly off the needles, and I've got a couple of finished objects basically within a week, where normally like a jumper or a beanie even for yourself can take much more time than that. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.